Hello, and welcome to episode 109 of the Great Canadian Hockey Podcast. I'm James Parisi here with my co-host Aidan Sarah, and buddy, it's playoff time. We're in the dance. Things are no longer just for fun. So many of these teams that have been dialed in and ready to go all season. These games finally mean something. It's not just for bragging rights. It's not just to keep yourself in the right frame of motion. It's every game matters. This is Mission 16W, first team to 16 wins and first one not to get decimated by their opponent. That's all that really matters right now. So I'm pretty tapped in. I'm pretty ready to go. And Aiden, I hope you are just as ready to watch playoffs as I am.
Is it always just one day in between the end of the regular season and the start of the
No,
playoffs?
no,
I was
no,
gonna
this is
say,
different.
yeah, this turnaround felt significantly more intense and quick than it usually does. This is one of the more exciting fields of playoff teams. Like, there's a good number of teams where I'm like, I want to see you win a series. Like, I'd love to see a bunch of these teams make a second round push. I've got a little bit of a weird Western Conference finalist in my bracket. I don't know if we're gonna have a similar first
Or
round projection.
we're doing the whole thing right now,
No,
aren't
I'm
we?
not. I'm not asking you to do the whole thing right now. We
Okay.
can do our first round picks, but one of
Yeah, I
my
think we're just doing first
yeah,
rounds.
yeah. But let's go through everything else first, because Vancouver,
Well,
Vancouver got rid of Patrick Allvin, man.
yeah, Aiden. I think you've wanted this, have you not?
I actually was significantly and remain significantly more. I remain significantly more intent that Adam Foote needs to leave. Adam Foote was hired just as a Quinn Hughes appeasement. I actually don't think he's that good of a coach. I actually don't think he's liked really. Like I just the sense I get from hockey and from hockey people is that Adam Foote in British Columbia is not a very popular hockey figure from the time that he and his family were involved in the Kelowna Rockets, and I don't think he's at all the right coach for this group. I look at a team like the San Jose Sharks, and I've pumped the tires off of Adam Warsofsky. And I was talking to somebody the other
Ryan
day,
Warsofsky.
Ryan Warsofsky. I was talking to somebody the other day who was asking me why Sam Dickinson was in the NHL because he just watched San Jose play Chicago. And he was saying that even against the Blackhawks, a player like Sam Dickinson looked out of place. He didn't quite look up to task. Dickinson's had a lot of good games this year, but what I said to him was I think Sam Dickinson's in that lineup because the Ryan Warsofsky culture is so good. And I think you see that come out in how good the top end players are playing. I talk about how player friendly coaches can produce so much good out of their superstars. However, when they get into the playoffs, it's a question mark. But I think a kid glove approach to this Canucks team as you get some of the exciting players. And again, I don't want to jump the gun and talk about the players at the top of the draft. We don't know who Vancouver's going to get. But I look at the defense and I think, you know what, Tom Wielander and Zeev Boyum, I want to see. I want to see them be given a leash on a Canucks team that isn't going to win anything in the next 3 years. Adam Foote's not that guy. So Patrick Allvin, to me, he got put into a tough spot. He was continuously hammered in a tough spot. A couple of 50-50 decisions that he made didn't go his way. So it was time to move on from him. But I think even more so than time to move on from Allvin, I'm not an Adam Foote fan. I think it's time there.
Aiden, just one thing, because you mentioned Zeev Boyum. I went and watched the last Canucks home game of the season
Which was
against
a
the LA Kings.
Booyam like master class.
Yeah, dude, if you love watching pump fakes and then like really odd defensive placements and then chasing the puck because he spent the whole time pump faking.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna call it a Booyah master class. I don't think he should be teaching a master class in anything just yet. This is a wildly talented player, but the seasoning on this meal here, there's none yet. There's no seasoning whatsoever.
Well, it was. I
I
think it was the
I
reason that Minnesota was so a willing to move him, and then
yeah.
b willing to go get another defenseman because we saw it in the playoffs last year. They were running him first on the power play.
And then they lost the series because he lost the puck on a what was it, a 4-on-3?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So clearly Minnesota with a wanting to make the cup push didn't see it right, and and you're watching a game where you can tell he's a kid. You can tell he's 20.
Yeah. Yeah, I was sitting next to Caleb, my roommate, and our hockey pool buddy, and one of my best friends, who I've talked about lots on this podcast. And he went, "Wow, he's crazy." And "Oh, you like those pump fakes? You like those?
That was the
Those get
Lane
you going?"
Hudson. It was that Lane Hudson first year. It
Yeah,
worked.
exactly, exactly
Um,
that. It draws the excitement as long as you're not looking at him when he's trying to get the puck. I will say though, those the Canucks core players that you would call right now, they move the puck really well in the offensive zone.
mhm.
They do this really odd cycle right by the offensive zone blue line when they're maintaining possession and trying to break inside. It's fun to watch. It gets you engaged. I liked it a lot. And Rogers Arena did a great job of making the last home game of the season a lot of fun. Crazy P was out there ripping around. They were shooting t-shirts everywhere, the usual stuff, making extra people sing. Um, uh, they gave one person a full calendar year of 2 tickets to every sporting event and concert in Rogers Arena.
Holy man.
Dude, that's like an easy $1 million.
Oh, bro. I mean, maybe pump the brakes on that, but yeah, it's a lot of
Well, you
money.
think
That's a
of you,
big
but
amount
if
of
you
money.
sell each one of those at the right time, think about concert tickets. Think about that market
I
and how ridiculously inflated it is.
Yeah, yeah. I
Like
that it's a big prize. It's
it's
bigger than whatever the
nuts.
50-50 would have been, obviously.
50-50. It was the biggest one of the year. It was 1.385 million.
Dude, did they sell this game out?
It was the busiest one I've seen the entire season.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wow.
Yeah. And obviously they pre-sold 50-50 by a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Edmonton does out here. It's like
Yeah.
an Alberta thing, so it's always like a
Yeah.
crazy amount.
I think we're trying to go a little bit more that route,
Oh
I've
yeah.
noticed. Yeah. But anyway, Vancouver, much to look forward to next season. Keep watching young players. A rebuild is fun. They have a high draft pick. They will have a new GM. I like watching trades happen. I like this stuff. But let's move on to something a little bit more exciting. Nathan McKinnon. He's got an extensive resume. He's got one of the best resumes and on ice products of any player in the NHL right now. And he has just won his first Rocket Richard Trophy, 53 goals. This is his second 50-goal season. Aiden looked like Cole Caulfield was creeping up, man. He was
Because he
one
was.
goal behind him at one point.
Because he was grieving up.
And then
He was.
there was this one spot where Caulfield had like 2 goals in 7 games, and that was where it was like, oh, we're good, we're okay. But it was really funny. I was waiting after Caulfield played his last game to see the notification saying Nathan McKinnon wins the Rocket Richard. And I was questioning, why haven't they posted that yet? This is so weird. But then I realized there was one more Oilers game, and they're not going to say that because McDavid could score 5 goals.
Oh yeah.
If anybody's going to do it, it could be him. So I totally get it. I didn't understand it at the time, but is that something you would have caught on to?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the one out of the mix there. But keeping it on Connor McDavid, one of the best players we've ever watched play hockey, one of the best players we ever will watch play hockey. He's just won his sixth Art Ross Trophy. That's the scoring title in the NHL, just in case any of you guys don't know. That ties Mario Lemieux, Les Magnifiques, for second most scoring titles ever in the NHL. That's total points, not just goals. This is assists and goals put together. That's second most ever. Wayne Gretzky has 10. Aiden, does Connor McDavid hit 10 scoring titles?
Ooh. I think he will end up bang on in the middle of Lemieux and Gretzky. I think he's got two more in him at
You
29.
think he has 2 more in him? Why do you think he only has 2 more?
Macklin Celebrini, dude. We're gonna talk about him. I think he's literally
McDavid's
next on the
29,
list.
dude.
I know, but look at this. Look at this teenager, this child putting up 115 points.
Okay.
It is so far above what McDavid was doing at that age. In a different NHL, completely. I'll acknowledge that. Um,
Points
so
are
I,
up,
I
save
still think,
percentages down.
yeah, I still think McDavid's got a couple more in him. But between like the young guys, you got Celebrini, but it could have easily been a McKinnon year. Could have easily been a Kucherov year if he had a consistent season from the start. I do genuinely think that Kirill Kaprizov has a 120 point season in him. So, as much as, yeah, he could totally hit 10, I would not be surprised whatsoever. I'm just, putting my money on last season, for instance. He had 100 points. That's a great number in 67 games, but he only had 100 points. So, at the end of the day, 29 years old, he's got a good 10 years of hockey left in him, but the league is so good right now, and the amount of points that some teams are just generating is so much. And there's a 19-year-old who just got 115 points.
Aiden, talk a little bit about this 19-year-old Macklin Celebrini hitting 115 points. That's the single season points record for the San Jose Sharks. That passes Joe Thornton, probably the greatest Shark of all time. We're watching history in motion. It's beautiful to see, especially because there's a little bit of a twinkle in this story because Celebrini lived with Joe Thornton in his rookie season, and the bond between these two. And some guys would be going, I hope no one beats my record, but just knowing that Joe Thornton is cheering for him to get every point, blow my record right out the water, right out the water. I love it, man. I love seeing it. What do you think?
Yeah, he beat him by 1 point. You talked about Joe Thornton. He is the greatest Shark of all time, and San
Yep.
Jose hockey will reflect on that team that had Patrick Marleau and Danny Healy. Dan Boyle was an elite defenseman for a good stretch of time there when he was in San Jose. But James, you got to say right now that Macklin Celebrini will be the best Shark of all time if he stays on this team, right? This is a marquee first overall pick who's again been one of the best players in the NHL this season, one of the most electric players in the NHL this season. And he's on a Sharks team on the upswing. Don't forget, Joe Thornton came in and joined San Jose. They weren't in the spot that Macklin Celebrini's team is in right now. They had Patrick Marleau, who put up, I think, an 80, he had more than a point per game season the year that Thornton came. The year that Thornton came was also the Jonathan Chichu Rocket Richard winning season. They had Christian Ehrhoff, I know, because I was a big fan of him when he was in Vancouver. So the San Jose team, they weren't on an upswing. I'm not saying they were on a downswing. They were competitive for the years that followed. But this San Jose team looks like one that, with this group centered around Celebrini, could be a multiple time deep playoff contender, if not real Stanley Cup contender soon. So as much as I know it's a bold prediction talking about a Joe Thornton who's an Olympic gold medalist once or twice, it might be twice, and a World Cup of Hockey champion and an Art Ross Trophy winner, but if you think about what this team could do with Macklin Celebrini and what the team failed to do with Joe Thornton, I think this is the first of a lot of Macklin passing Joe in the San Jose Sharks ranks. This is the first of a lot more to come.
And Joe's still got one on him for single season points. In the year he was traded in that Art Ross Trophy winning season, Thornton totaled 125 points. And he did that in 83 games. While you may think that's unfair because Celebrini's playing 82 game seasons, hold up. We're hitting 84 game seasons pretty soon.
Yeah,
Don't you
which is
worry.
dumb.
Yeah,
That's
I
so
hate it.
silly.
Not a fan. Not a fan. Next up, we're gonna stop. We're kind of gonna stop talking about players here, and we're gonna hit a little bit of a chatting about executives and coaches because as we did last episode, there's a lot of news and a lot of moving and shaking on that this time of year. There was a guy we talked about last episode, Sonny Mehta. He was the assistant general manager for the Florida Panthers. Analytics heavy guy, former poker player. He's just been hired by the New Jersey Devils as GM. A lot of people are crediting Sonny as one of the people who would have the Panthers target an Oliver Ekman-Larsson, a Gustav Forsling. Like they go get a Mason Marchment. They find themselves in Evan Rodriguez. You go get analytics friendly guys who seem to mesh with the system and the possession and offensive zone numbers that your guys you already have are going to be putting up without interrupting things. Analytics heavy guy, and that may be just what the Devils need. You go back a couple years ago, and this New Jersey Devils team was probably just on the precipice of making that jump. They won a round. They looked like they were ready to do some more damage, and maybe this is the guy that they need to pick up the right supporting cast pieces. Only time will tell, but it's exciting to see. I like teams that move and shake, and I believe we'll be seeing a lot of moving and shaking out of the New Jersey Devils in the near future.
Yeah, well, NHL general managers that come from being assistant general managers are usually known for one thing, right? Jim Benning, when he came to Vancouver, was allegedly supposed to be an excellent amateur scout. He was absolutely abhorrent at drafting when he was in Vancouver. But you talked about Sonny Meta. He comes from the Florida Panthers, where pro scouting was his background and how good he was at pro scouting. I like this hire, James. I think the last podcast I was talking about it, how the NHL has such an internal carousel of staff. And I know Sonny Meta's coming from being an assistant GM, so it's not as if he wasn't in this world already. But you do get somebody else stepping into a general manager position that, so oftentimes it feels like the same 32 to 35 guys are just rotating through these general manager positions. So I like the hire because it's a roll of the dice, no pun intended. The guy was a poker player. But the getting a new guy in there, the pro scouting success that he had with the Florida Panthers. New Jersey is not an amateur scouting team right now. They do not want to build through the draft. They have the guys they think they can add to and win with. So it's a perfect fit based on what we know about Meta, and I'm very, very happy that we get somebody else. I know it seems like I'm way, way overdoing like the significance of this, but I like the change. I like the new guys. I like the fresh blood. We don't need the same 35 managers going in a carousel. Good for Meta. Good for New Jersey.
Taking things out of New Jersey and to the Columbus Blue Jackets, a team that Aiden and I found ourselves cheering for often this year. This is a team full of character guys and exciting young players, and one of, if not the best defenseman in the NHL this season. And as we got closer to the end of the season, an extremely likable coach who I always find myself cheering for. But this likable coach is come out and said in the last week or so that the Jackets just aren't it. They're not doing it. These players do not care. His quote, to be exact, these guys, they don't care. Losing is not important enough to them. It doesn't bother them. How can you go out and play like that? I should have done this about a month ago, but this is where we are, and this is why we are where we are. This is why we're out of playoffs. That kind of effort. You have to hate losing. I don't care if it's a meaningless game. I don't care. Show up and compete. That coach has just been extended 1 year. Zach Werenski, the captain of that team, or not captain of that team, the best player on that team, Boone Jenner's the captain. He's come out and said already that we needed to hear that. We deserve that. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he's asked of his teammates in that statement. And Aiden, I think this is exactly what the Blue Jackets need. This is a losing, losing, losing culture. We saw one pretty solid playoffs out of them where they kind of catapulted the record-setting President's Trophy winning Tampa Bay Lightning into oblivion. We saw them take out the Toronto Maple Leafs in a play-in where they played fantastic. There are like a couple of players left from those teams. A couple. Like I think
Werenski.
yeah, Werenski and Jenner. I think
Yeah.
Merzlikins was around for the second one of those.
Yeah. I think you're
Yeah,
right.
that's it. I don't think any of these guys have really these young guys have really come into a winning culture that cares about success, and it just it's hard to say these guys don't care about winning unless you're in the room. And Rick Bowness is in the room. This is one of those few moments where you truly can say that. When we're talking about a lot of these other teams, we can't go, oh, they don't care about winning. They don't look like they care. They don't act like they care. We're not there. But if this is what their coach is saying and their best players agreeing with it, it's fact now. This is not what we think. This is not rumor. This is fact. So that's something that needs to change. And clearly that's their mission for next season. So watch for the Jackets to make a change or two in the offseason. I would expect them to be quite aggressive in the trade market. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, especially because when you take a look really quickly at this Columbus Blue Jackets team, I don't want to be too harsh because obviously we're not in that room, but it's a bunch of guys that kind of take their foot off the gas when the going gets tough, right? Like we haven't really seen again, you talked about it. It's been Werenski and it's been Jenner who've been there. Charlie Coyle's a playoff vet, but he's never been the toughest guy, right? He's never been the guy that's been an emotional leader. He's been a very, very excellent complementary player on a lot of good teams. But you keep going. Cole Sillinger, Dmitry Voronkov, Ivan Provorov, Kent Johnson, Connor Garland, even Yegor Chinahov. All season they've been playing players that, again, when the going gets tough, I don't have the faith in them to push the
Kinnikov's
gas.
in Pittsburgh now
Yeah, and he got traded away. Yeah, but again,
because they
coming
had
into the
too many
season,
of those.
yeah, well, exactly, exactly. For Columbus, yes, I think it's a culture shift that needs to happen. They brought in Mason Marchment, who I think was supposed to be the
Gas.
first step of that, and he plays tough as nails. Boone Jenner has always played tough. Sean Monahan's a vet, so you've got the skeleton of guys, both vets and young pieces. I don't think they have any young pieces that are ready to come in and make that impact. Caden Lindstrom's injury just set
I
him
knew
back
you were
so
going to bring up
far.
Caden Lindstrom.
Yeah, and Denton Matejchuk is just not going to make the impact on this team with Werenski there that you maybe would have thought a 21-year-old on the upswing is going to make. So a lot of changes need to happen to Columbus in the offseason because Zach Werenski's just gone and wasted another season where he could have been the Hart Trophy winner, in my opinion.
Moving things to Chicago, their general manager Kyle Davidson, multi-year extension. We don't have the exact term, but Aiden, why was he extended? Why are we seeing the leash longened, extended? Is longened a word?
No.
No, okay, we're not going there. Yeah, why are we seeing his leash extended? I mean, we've seen him draft a lot of guys that seem to be for sure things. We haven't really seen all of the complementary moves we may have expected this season. How do you feel about this one?
Good. Let this guy cook, man.
Yeah.
I'm not. We're not gonna crap on Kyle Davidson here. I know some of those, like I know some of the higher profile moves that he's made that people are paying attention to, like don't look fantastic. Like Tyler Bertuzzi came in, he wasn't fantastic. Andre Burakovsky had a brutal year. I think they overpaid Ryan Donato to keep him around. Andrew Mangiapane when they brought him in.
Hold on the Burakovsky thing. He was actually incredible until he had to leave for personal reasons, and after that, nothing was okay.
Yeah,
So I'm not gonna go and say brutal year because he was fantastic before. What I believe I was reading was a family matter came up.
yeah. Don't want to be too harsh without knowing what that is. You're right. Five
Yeah.
and a half million dollars though was a lot to pay him. Ilya Mikheyev didn't have a good season. I know he was a cap pickup. Taivo Teravainen, I know there was optimism around him. I know Frank Nazar could have had a better year. But what I want everybody to pay attention to is the skeleton he's managed to amass in the not high profile moves. Okay, I know all those players didn't have the impact that the team maybe wanted them to have. I know when you look at the draft, it's easy to say they picked Artem Levshinov over Ivan Demidov. They picked Anton Frondel over X, Y, and Z more skilled players. But Wyatt Kaiser, Louis Crevier, Sam Rinzel, Alex Vlasic, these are a bunch of defensemen that they've managed to draft in the second round, in the third round, and beyond that have been excellent. They were able to get they were able to get Sasha Boyver in the first round as well, who just came in, played 7 games, looked good. It's the Kevin Korchinski of it all that I'm interested to see how he manages to bounce back. Hopefully,
Comment
but
section want him traded.
yeah, that wouldn't be a new change of pace wouldn't be bad either. But they bring in Nick Lardis, who is excellent in the AHL. They've got Marek Vanacker in the system, and they've got Roman Kansterov in the system. Okay, I want to see what else they do in terms of the like we talked about with the Devils' new GM Sonny Meta. I want to see maybe a little bit of better pro scouting out of Davidson. Tyler Bertuzzi scored 30 goals this season. I know he had a bad first year, but let's not forget that this is a team that can always click. I think Nazar has a better year in him. I think Bedard has a better year in him. I think Levshinov has a step up in him. Oliver Moore, I think, could step into being like a super effective third line center next year. I know there's a lot of people, me included, that are high on Sam Rinzel. Connor Murphy's been the warrior for them, and he just got traded to Edmonton. So let's see how the defense builds around the absence of Murphy.
Well, Aiden, we've just spent a lot of time talking about teams that are not in the playoffs. That was then. This is now. It is now late April. Let's start talking about playoff teams. Aiden, it's time for our playoff bracket. I think we start things off in the Atlantic Division. Buffalo, Boston. This is fun. This is a really cool matchup. These are a lot of players that I've wanted to watch in the playoffs. Aiden, what have you got and why?
I think Buffalo wins in 7 games. I think if they don't, it's on Jeremy Swayman's back. That's not to say that I think Buffalo is like that much better of a team than Boston, if at all. But I think Boston has the clear step up in the goaltending category. I think these Buffalo players, and I'm specifically kind of thinking Tage Thompson here. Tage Thompson, I don't like Tage Thompson, the man. But the last 2 years for Thompson, he wins the world championships with the States and was the guy for that team. He scored the golden goal in the spring last year. And the season he's had this year has been so dominant. He had that one crazy year in 21-22 or 22-23, and then didn't look like that player again, but he's become that player again. And as much as he hasn't been in the playoffs, I still think that experience he's had with the U.S. national team is going to be so important to him. And I look at the Buffalo defense. Rasmus Dahlin has been the second best defenseman in the NHL to me this season. And I think he can totally run things from the back end. And to me, Buffalo's a team that are coming in inspired. And I know that maybe I'm overrating the spark in these Sabres in terms of how far it's actually going to carry them. But I think Buffalo wins in 7 games. I think that game 7 will be an electric Sabre night.
Aiden, I've got the Boston Bruins in 6 games, and that is for three reasons. Reason number one, if you look at the two rosters and you compare them on paper, I do believe Boston has a perfect counter for every single thing on the Buffalo Sabres lineup. You go line by line, matchup by matchup. I truly think that they can wet blanket that Buffalo Sabres team. And I have to be clear, I don't want them to. I want Buffalo to go further, but I think Boston is just a little bit more of a calculated chess match team when it comes to this operation. And they have more players that have played in the playoffs, more players that have done things in these meaningful games. Reason number two, I think that their game breakers are bigger game breakers. I think David Pastrnak has way more experience in these clutch situations and a little bit more of that I will score through you kind of attitude than Tage Thompson and co. Reason number three, and you spoke to this one a little bit, man. Jeremy Swayman's one of the best goalies in the league, and he elevates himself in these bigger moments. I think at least one of these wins will be a shutout.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
Okay, Tampa, Montreal, what do you got?
Dude, this is the second easiest one for me.
Okay.
I've got Tampa in 5.
Yeah, it's okay. That's all right.
I was looking through playoff predictions on the score, and there was one guy who had Montreal in 7 out of their like 8 analysts.
Hey, listen, I'm not like super. I don't think this is a slam dunk the way you think this is a slam dunk. I think the difference here is Andre Vasilevsky cut and dry. And I have Tampa in 6 because of Andre Vasilevsky and the difference that I think he can make in any series. We've seen this guy time and time again in the playoffs. And we've seen him win games and win series and go so far for Tampa. So maybe we're
Aiden,
maybe
it's the
we're
play. It's Aiden.
underselling.
It's the structure of this blue line for playoffs for me. I don't like the way Montreal's decor is built for playoffs. I don't see
Yeah.
it. I
Oh,
don't get it at all.
it's
It,
it's.
dude, that's an Oilers blue line.
I get it.
Like
I
you've got
understand what
your
you're saying.
Hudson is your Bouchard. Okay, that's your top
Yeah.
guy. Then you've got Matheson. Okay, Matheson is like your Jake Wallman, except I'd rather have Matheson. It's
Yeah.
like not that big of a difference
It's
though.
listen. It's better. Montreal's is better than Edmonton.
But you get what I'm saying,
I
right?
know, but like the
Like all of their gasoline is up front. Like why
no,
can't you
I
start
get
a
it.
fire at the other end of the ice?
Yeah, no. And the goaltending, listen, Jakob Dobsch has earned himself consideration in the start, but it's Vasilevsky.
Yeah, yeah, dude. And I have to say again, I'm gonna say this a lot. I would love to see Montreal take them the distance. Would love it. Would love it. Next up, Carolina, Ottawa. I've got the Carolina Hurricanes in 6 games.
Yeah, I've got Carolina in 7.
Ottawa's gonna put up a fight, man.
Ottawa, well, and
They got
Ottawa's okay.
sick players.
I'm pretty sure Carolina won the season series 2-1.
Yeah.
Ottawa were better in almost all 3 of those games,
There was a
and
barn burner game in there, wasn't there?
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
and they did not get the goaltending. So, I think people who are kind of treating this series the way you're treating Tampa Montreal, where it's like, oh, Ottawa's going to get stepped on, completely wrong. Brady Tkachuk with Dylan Cousins and Ridley Gregg has been like the quietest elite line in the NHL in the last 20 games of the season. I know that
Aren't
sounds
they like the best
ridiculous.
puck possession line in the league right
Yeah,
now?
they're playing out of their minds. So that deserves some consideration, but it's the been there, done that of the Carolina superstars that I just have more faith in. So to me, it's the Sebastian Aho, it's the Seth Jarvis, and it's the experience on that back end led by Jacob Slavin. That is just it's just going to take them above what Ottawa has, as good as the Sens have been, and as good as that Ottawa defense has been, with Nick Jensen, Thomas Chabot, and of course Jake
Dude,
Sanderson.
I think Brandon Bussey wins the goalie battle against Linus Ullmark.
Listen, I like Linus Olmark, and I really feel for him. But right
I hope he's
now,
okay. This is not a
yeah,
slight to him at all.
yeah, I agree with you that right now I'm taking Bussy over
Just
Olmark.
with it being such a mental game, man, like you need to be ice cold and ready to go at all times. And I think there's just too much turmoil and tension there. I don't like that situation for him. Honestly, man, I hope he gets traded at some point. I don't like the situation for him at all. And again, as I've said with every series, I would prefer seeing the Ottawa Senators win this series. I've seen the Hurricanes in the third round so many times, I don't really care. I'm not all that interested. They are now lacking veterans without cups that I cheer for, a la Brent Burns, who we will touch on later, not too much later. But yeah, I don't really have any need or draw to see the Carolina Hurricanes go all the way. I like Seth Jarvis. I like Sebastian Aho. I like Jacob Slavin. Like I like a lot of their players. This is not for me to say I hate them in any way, shape, or form, but I think Ottawa just has a little bit more of that spunk, a little bit more of that like, hey, we're here and we're not really going to go anywhere quietly into the night. Uh, I will say Carolina is going to win, but yeah. In Pittsburgh, Philly, this is a series everyone is looking forward to. This is a return to playoffs for both squads, looking fairly different than the last time either of these teams were in there. Pittsburgh, much of the same core, but very different supporting cast. And Philadelphia, I think Travis Konechny and Sean Couturier were on the last team that they had in playoffs. I don't think anyone else was. I could be missing someone, but I don't think I am. I'm
I can't
excited, man.
think, I can't
I'm
think
really
of one
excited.
in unless, yeah, I don't think there is any. I don't think there's anybody. Okay, I feel bad for Philly and being so hard on them here, but I kind of think this is okay. I'm gonna say boys versus men, and I don't mean that in like a Pittsburgh's team is so much better. I mean that in a Pittsburgh's team is so much more experienced, and I just think that in a playoff setting, I'm taking as much as we're talking about a 39-year-old and a 40-year-old this year, I am taking Crosby and Malkin as your top 2 centers over Zegras and Dvorak in a playoff series every day of the week here. And I think that it's that element of it. The fact that it's instead of Cam York or Jamie Drysdale being the number one offensive defenseman, it's Eric
Headache,
Carlson being the number one
headache.
offensive defenseman. And you know what? I really like Artur Shilovs. Dan Vildar's been a little bit better than him this season, but not much. Not to mention, Stuart Skinner's been solid since he went. He has. If Shilovs falters, I have more faith in Skinner to back him up than I do in Airson to back up Vladar for Philly. The Philadelphia Flyers have two big wild cards. They're both forwards. I think Porter Martone, he has 10 points in 9 games since joining. And then the return of one of my favorite second liners in the NHL, Tyson Forster, has been really solid since he's come back. He was supposed to be out all season with the injury, but he got back in there late. So we've seen Forster and Martone not on this Flyers forward core for much of it. And as good as Zegras and Konechny have been this season, maybe the addition of Martone and of Forster, even if they're not the highest scorers, Owen Tippett, Matvey Michkov, Christian Dvorak are just going to have a lot more space just after Martone and Forster soak up a lot of Pittsburgh's attention. What do you got?
I've got the Penguins in 7. If Philly wants to win, Travis Konechny has to go from being the third best player in this series to the number one best player in this series. He has to fully take over. There has to be a game where he's a physically imposing force and has 3 points twice.
Did you know Nick Bonino is a Pittsburgh assistant coach?
I did know that.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Very cool. I like it. Aiden, that shapes up our Eastern Conference. I don't think we've got any surprises there.
No,
We've
well,
only
and we don't have
disagreed on
any.
one series.
Yeah, I was gonna say Buffalo and Boston is the only one we went off course. Colorado Avalanche are the best team in the NHL this year. We're
Sweet.
transitioning into the West.
Sweet.
Colorado, yeah, they've been the best. Uh,
Sweet.
they're gonna sweep LA.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Sweet.
sorry, Kings. You know who else I was really confident was going to sweep their first round opponent after being the best team in the NHL? I only say this because we just talked about it with Columbus earlier. It was the 2019 Tampa Bay Lightning who got swept by the Blue Jackets in the first round.
Word.
Yeah. So let's hope the
Don't
Avs.
sprinkle that juju on my series. I
I'm
want
just
that.
saying.
I
I don't know
want
if I've been this confident about a President's Trophy winner winning their first round since that. So just
if they were playing Anaheim, I had it in 6 games.
yeah, that makes.
Uh, and I actually think LA is a better team. I just think the way the two teams play, I think Anaheim would have lasted longer.
Other thing, the last time the Columbus beating Tampa one was also on the back of an Artemi Panarin led offense.
Oh God.
Just again,
Hey, sprinkle that somewhere else. I don't want it. Dallas, Minnesota, Aiden. This is probably the most tightly contested series. Got Minnesota in 6.
I have Dallas in 7.
Okay. Do you know why I have Minnesota in 6?
Because you are Matt Boldy super fan.
I honestly like what Dallas has up front better for the playoffs.
Me too.
I like what Dallas has in net better for the playoffs.
It's Minnesota's defense.
I like Dallas's defense in theory better for playoff hockey. But I don't like the last 20 games in Dallas at all. I think this team looked lost and confused. And I don't know. It feels like that Minnesota moment. There's just some magic there. Something is different. And I don't think that different is just adding a superstar or having a different approach. Something just feels off. And I think Dallas has had a lot of conference finals in the past several years, and I think they're gonna have their turn for a first round knockout.
You know what? I actually, I'm
You're
I'm
buying
on
what
the
I'm selling?
pardon.
Are you buying what I'm selling?
I totally get it. I think Dallas being underestimated means they're gonna have a sneaky good first round series. I think they're hearing this noise, and I think there's a guy like Jason Robertson who really needs to prove that he can do anything in the playoffs because he hasn't done that yet. And I think you're gonna see the best out of Robertson in the playoffs. I think Dallas have failed and learned more than almost any other team in the NHL coming into these
They've
playoffs.
failed and learned more than Minnesota's seen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I like the Wild. I think if you ask me right now, James, out of all of these first round series, okay, you need to pick one that the Stanley Cup champion is going to come out of. I would pick Dallas, Minnesota, because even if the lower ranked team upsets the other, I think both of these teams could go through. Whereas if you're looking at a Tampa, Montreal, or a Colorado, LA, if the underdog wins, I don't think they go on the run. But if the underdog wins in Dallas, Minnesota, whoever you want to say that is, they could go all the way through. It's also goaltending. I have a little bit more faith in Ottinger than Gustafsson, but that can change quickly.
Volstead starts game three, and then the Wild win 4 games in a row.
Is okay, so you think it's 2-0 Dallas then?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's fun.
Vegas, Utah. What do you got, Aiden? I
Uh,
feel
uh,
very assured about this one.
yeah, I wish it was Utah, but it's Vegas in 5.
I also have Vegas in five.
Yeah.
I think that one Utah win, though, it's going to be at home and it's going to be sick.
Yeah, it is. This is the live and learn for Dylan Gunther and Logan Cooley. This is the look, you get to play playoff hockey. Now lose to a superior opponent, learn from Jack Eichel and Mark Stone and Shea Theodore, and take that
Dude,
experience into the
I just
next year.
don't think they know what they're getting into.
That's
Mikhail
fair.
Sergachev knows what he's getting into.
Yeah,
He
that's
knows.
fair.
He knows stuff.
Yeah, well, and hey, Connor McDavid's first playoffs was in 2017. His first conference final wasn't until what? When did Colorado win the cup? 2023? Yeah.
2022.
So 5 years after that first playoff appearance. So this is
Yeah.
the first Utah Mammoth playoff appearance on what I think is an upswing. So
Yep.
live and learn. Vegas wins, but Utah picks up some valuable experience. All right, James, I want to hear what you have to say for this first.
Our last series, Aiden, the Edmonton Oilers versus the Anaheim Ducks. This is the first playoffs for this young Ducks core, and Aiden, I have them taking the Oilers to 7 games.
You have them taking the Oilers to 7 games.
Oh, you have them taking the Oilers in 7 games.
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. All right.
I have gushed, and I like again. I know we have a lot of viewers that are concurrent. Thank you so much for coming back after listening to us, which means a lot of listeners have heard me gush about Lukas Dostal, and Tristan Jarry has just been so bad in Edmonton, and Connor Ingram has been so bad in Edmonton, and this isn't the only reason I have
Ingram had like
Anaheim.
5 really good games down the stretch, and I know that because that's part of the reason I lost this year in fantasy.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I know. Um, I just it's an Oilers team that again has been there and felt like an automatic to get out of the Pacific Division at times. I know Vegas is Vegas, but the Oilers have felt so inevitable, and I just don't see the magic in them this year. I'm sorry. I think Anaheim with this young team on the upswing with a bunch of players that are like Cutter Gauthier. Cutter Gauthier is completely inexperienced in the playoffs. He's completely inexperienced. The biggest game he's ever played in his life was a 6-2 gold medal game win in the World Juniors. He
Hell
hasn't
yeah.
been in these big moments, but he's a player for them. If he doesn't score 5 goals in 7 games, if he scores one, I actually don't think it matters all that much because if he's being shut down, you know what he's still doing? He's still throwing his body around. He's still throwing his weight around. He's still making the whichever line has to shut him down. He's still making it hell for them. And to me, the biggest thing in the series for Anaheim is how do they shut down McDavid? I wonder, James, are we going to see a best line versus best line? Are we going to see Leo Carlson tasked with this McDavid shutdown? I don't know. But I also like Anaheim's defense better, I'm going to be honest with you. The John Carlson acquisition has given them 3 very balanced pairs. You got a
Yeah,
puck
his
mover
hat
on each
trick
one.
is another reason that I've lost in
Yeah,
fantasy.
yeah.
That sucked.
I think the defense over Anaheim has the defense over Edmonton. Anaheim has the goaltending over Edmonton. Edmonton
Dude,
have the forwards and the
I think
superstars.
one of Truba or Gudis is gonna get booted from the series for taking out the NHL's golden boy, and then that the Oilers are gonna win in spite of that.
In spite of McDavid being taken down by
Yeah,
Truba or Gudis. Okay.
yeah, that's my prediction.
Yeah. You got to find a betting app that'll have odds on that because you put
I've
$5
heard,
on
okay,
that.
have you heard about that betting app where people bet on like anything?
Well, that's like Poly Market, their prediction markets. Is
That's what I'm
that
talking about. Yeah.
yeah. So okay, we're not gonna do a freaking Poly Market episode on
Okay.
this
Yeah.
podcast,
No.
but oh god, don't even literally
Aiden,
don't get me started.
so just because you picked the Ducks to win, who is Tyson Hines?
He's a prospect defenseman. He was a
Okay.
Team Canada World Junior player. He's
Oh
solid for
yeah.
San Diego. I know him because he's a World Junior player,
Right.
and I followed him because he was a
Is
World
this an
Junior player.
NHL defenseman?
Right now, he's on the periphery. I don't think I would play him more than 15 minutes a night in any of these games.
Okay.
I would like to
Jackson
see.
Lacombe is better than any defenseman on the Oilers.
Yes, he is. Listen, I feel like, again, we got comments on the reel about Evan Bouchard needing to be number one. Sorry, guys. Evan Bouchard was not on either of our Norris top fives, and I agree that Jackson Lacombe is a better defenseman for the first round of a playoff series. I don't care how many points Bouchard got, all right? Like this he's been such a disaster at times, and every week there's another play where you're looking at him and you're like, do you know what position you're supposed to be playing?
Are you
So I'm
familiar with the
sorry.
Ducks' offensive lines?
Not specifically how they
Who do you think Leo Carlson's wingers are? Without looking it up, do not look it up.
do not look it up. It's not Gauthier. I know that. Troy Terry's been one of them for a while. It's either Killorn or Kreider. They have a veteran with those
Okay, yeah,
two.
Kreider. Who do you think Cutter Gauthier plays with? Who do you think's on his line?
I know it's been McTavish,
Okay.
which I feel
And
like has been them trying to shoehorn McTavish into like an upswing. And it's somebody weird. Who's their third line center right now? That's who they've got. It's not Mikhail Granlund. They picked up Mikhail Granlund for Strome or instead of Strome because I think it was Strome and that wasn't working.
Strome they traded to Calgary in a cap
Yeah,
dump.
yeah, which was smart.
Nine Granlund in the offseason.
I'm missing one because they've got a top nine. I know they've got a top nine. Is it Paling?
Yeah, yeah. And Aiden's looking at his screen, so I'm 70% sure he cheated on this one.
I'm looking at your face.
Yeah.
I was trying to read your facial
I'm
reactions when I
I'm
was.
pretty sure he cheated on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
I'm
was. It
pretty
was.
sure he already had the window up when I said you can't look it up.
I was looking at stats. I wasn't looking at lines for a while.
Oh,
I
okay.
had
All
the.
right.
I had
All
the
right.
like
All right. Yeah,
Anaheim
Ryan Paling, who
Ducks.
they've just extended. Then their second line, Beckett
Yeah.
Senick, Mikhail Granlund, and Alex Killorn. But one of the big stories for them this season has been the prowess of Jeffrey Viel on the fourth line. They've quite liked him. He has become a Joel Quenneville fourth liner. So watch for that to continue. I don't know much about Tim Wash, but I do know Ian Moore is a solid depth player.
Yeah. Tim Wash. Again, another guy that I recognize from looking at San Diego goals. Stats just to whenever I do.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be fun,
Seven
man.
games. So you have the Ducks taking out the Oilers in the Rogers Center in Edmonton.
Yeah, I do.
Game seven. Wow. Dude, you
Really
should
quick.
bet on that.
Ooh, yeah, I think I should.
You should bet on that like right now.
Hmm.
Before other people start thinking the same thing after Bouchard blows a tire in game one and then Cutter Gauthier scores 2 goals somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
What are the odds right now? Are they crazy?
For Anaheim to win, no, none of them were super slanted because I just did a parlay. I don't bet during the season. I don't sports bet, but it'll be NHL playoffs and major international football tournaments that I will bet on, which means I've been active on this account because
Right.
both are coming up. Yeah, Anaheim's only plus 195 to win the series.
Dude, that's a good margin.
Hey, I've got Anaheim, Buffalo, Dallas, Tampa,
What
Carolina,
if you bet on
Pittsburgh,
Anaheim
Colorado,
in seven?
Vegas.
Specifically Anaheim in seven.
I'm on Bet 365.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not even like Guys, don't get into sports betting too bad.
It's
All right.
so fun though.
It is so fun, but it also like there's some stats about this. I think like 80% of sports betting revenue comes from 5% of players or something. So just don't be ever close to that, okay?
Right,
Because if
right,
you think
right.
about the implications of that, it is crazy.
Yeah, 7 games, man. That's a fun bet. I like the thought of it.
Okay, is that the last?
That's our last series. So
Okay.
moving on, just as a quick recap, um, we're pretty unanimous about most of them, but Aiden and I differ on Edmonton, Anaheim, Dallas, Minnesota, and Buffalo, Boston. We'll see who's right about those ones. Maybe we can do a little bit of a best 2 out of 3 on that one there. I'm curious to see how right either of us are about this because, as I say all the time, if I predict it, this will not happen.
Listen, I've gone 3 for 8, and I've gone 8 for 8 on these first round pick'ems.
Yeah.
So let's see. Just really quick, I talked about a surprise Western Conference finalist. If Anaheim beats Edmonton, I think they beat Vegas.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Get a
So to me,
low on their side.
my West final is Colorado beating the ever loving crap out of Anaheim in the same way they did to Edmonton when they won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, that dude, that was so fun.
Yeah,
Oh. Okay, well, fantasy gambler roundup because you need to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and know when to walk away. Well,
dude,
all I'm
it's
gonna say to
over.
you guys is it's time to walk away. It's time to walk away.
It's time to.
25-26 season. I placed second in our pool. I was able to pull ahead of first place man William Mary with probably 10 games left in the season. And then he had a night where every single thing went right. John Carlson got a hat trick. One of his goalies got a shutout. Dan Vladar won like 9 games out of 10 games. Like Connor Ingram did the same thing. Every single one of his players went absolutely ballistic. He had a combination of Patrick Kane, Dylan Larkin, and Alex DeBrincat, who, even though the Red Wings didn't make the playoffs, they still ruined my night every time I looked at hockey
Well,
scores.
yeah, it was funny because they weren't doing anything 5 on 5, but they would just like rip points on the power play.
DeBrincat had
Yeah,
5 on 5.
yeah. Larkin, Kane, and Kane especially. Yeah, I am thinking of Kane
Yeah.
more than the other two.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, it was tough, man. It was real tough. Uh, I mean, you triple your money in second place, but I run the league, so the money comes out of my account regardless. So, I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword on that front. But congratulations to William Mary. You'll hear more about our fantasy hockey league in the coming months, as we always do. It's just fun to touch on it a little bit here. But one piece of information or advice for you in fantasy hockey going into playoffs, if you have some of those young players who are in playoffs this year, some of those hot young rookies, maybe keep an eye on their value.
some of them. You mean all of them?
Yeah, Aiden actually picked up every single one of them in a tanking effort to try and get the best odds in our draft
Dude,
lottery.
it was
It didn't
not a
work.
tanking effort.
It was a tanking effort. You can't even lie. You were benching your best players on purpose and not
Listen,
using your IR slot. That was a tank.
trading trading Freddie Anderson for a Sam Montembeau that I was like pretty sure wasn't going to play, that might have been the tanking effort. I said it that at the end of the season all these pickups were going to come back to bite me, and I think Porter Martone's getting me like 3 fantasy points a game right now.
What about when you benched all of your best players, your only good players, like every night for 2 weeks straight?
You said that the pickups were a tanking effort. That was my refutation, was about that
But you were tanking
classification. That
intentionally.
is
Yeah.
that's different.
Yeah.
That's different than what we originally
Aiden's one
said.
of those guys who toes the line and you have to continue policing all the time. He's like the like in
Oh,
kindergarten, like the teacher had to tell him like, hey, crisscross applesauce, hands in your home. Quit fidgeting.
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. You know what is funny? You did me a service, because if I was going to hear about how many points I left on the bench, I was going to go through and do the math on how many
Oh
points
yeah.
the
Yeah.
others left on the bench. So
Yeah,
you
no, no.
hey,
I was doing my job the whole time.
yeah, that was good because
Yeah.
because I was looking to the other teams as a green light to what I was able to do. So
Mm.
you've evened it all out, which makes me
Yeah,
happy.
yeah. Okay, one more thing before we go. Shows and movies, Aiden. What have you been watching?
Oh, dude, I started a freaking Mark Wahlberg movie on Prime last night. I couldn't even finish. Like, I think I didn't even finish
Oh,
the
Falls
first
Up.
act. It was so bad.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's like it's made to be bad.
I know, but I like those. I like
Yeah.
being not sober and watching those
The in the
movies, and I
third
couldn't even
act.
watch that one.
The third act of that movie was funny. That was it.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I
I
couldn't even
I
survive.
watched this one after going to the Canucks game with Caleb and then going to the casino for an hour and a half after, and then picking up not one but two different food items on the way home. We did donairs and burritos.
You only had one, right?
No.
Because you had both a donair and a burrito.
Yeah.
Dude, my next day would be ruined. Like I would just be my
I take a
stomach.
lot of vitamins.
Yeah, my stomach would be like having a maybe not even come back from.
I
Might be
take
a
a lot of
week.
vitamins.
Yeah.
But yeah, shows and movies. Is there anything you've liked watching though?
There has to be.
There has to be. You
Right?
watch stuff.
I know. Um, how about you? You go. I'll check to see what I've rated recently here.
Yeah, a couple things, man. I've raved early on in this podcast about how well made the first two seasons of Euphoria are.
Okay.
Uh, the third season is j just started. Episode two comes out on Sunday. It's still incredibly well made, but we've had so much time go by that most of the main characters from that one are now A-list actors with packed filming schedules. Like I think between Zendaya, Sydney Sweeney, and Jacob Elordi, I think they have maybe like maybe like two to three box office topping movies per year between the three of them. And it's kind of ridiculous that they've managed to film an entire season of an HBO TV show with those packed schedules. Um, so they've had to take a lot of it in different directions because two of the actors as well, Eric Dane and Angus Cloud, have unfortunately passed away since that last season. The last season was 4 years ago, by the way. That's a very long gap. And it's basically now season three is Grand Theft Auto starring the characters from the first two seasons. Because 4 years hasn't just passed in the real world, but like 2.5 years have passed in the in-show universe. So you're just hopping into these characters' lives as they're doing a bunch of crazy, ridiculous stuff. And I don't really understand the direction yet, other than it's like a crime dramedy now instead of being a gripping story about addiction and how it destroys lives in even in our youth. Um, because of all of this change, Labyrinth, the electronic music artist who did the score for the first two seasons, and notably have the song "Still Don't Know My Name," that was a chart topper for quite a while. He does a lot of synth heavy music, and it was fantastic for the first couple seasons. Um, he put out a scathing tweet, uh, um, uh, putting a real hate on for his label for the show and for HBO, and then pulled all of his music from it last minute. Um, I read online they brought in Hans Zimmer to patch it up. I don't understand how you could just have Hans Zimmer patching it up last minute. That doesn't really hit. How does that work?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Well,
Dude was
I'm about
bored.
to find out as the season progresses. It'll be fun to keep going and watch that as it goes on. But yeah, I don't have anything else immediately on the docket. I'm really excited for the upcoming movie schedule for the rest of the year. I still haven't done Project Hail Mary. I'm really excited to watch the drama with Robert Pattinson and Zendaya that just came out. I didn't see it. I've heard good things from everyone I know who watched it. I'm excited for the next Dune. I'm excited for a lot of things, man. It's gonna be a good year for movies. So, and the Odyssey, obviously, that's
Yeah.
the big heavy hitter. So,
I don't have anything positive because I watched the second Kingsman movie after really liking the first,
and
and
I
it
told
was.
you weren't gonna like
I
it.
know. I know.
The
Um,
prequel's better.
is yeah. Okay.
The
Good to
King's
know.
Man.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
also on Disney Plus. And then you know what, you mentioned Sydney Sweeney, and it
Oh no, you didn't watch Christie, did you?
nope, I watched Housemaid, and I did not like it very much. I think if Amanda Seyfried, how do I say that name? Amanda
Secret.
Seyfried, if she wasn't like her and as good as she was, I think I would have hated it. But she kept me compelled.
She's a killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all on her. Great job for making this movie. I would have really disliked
Dude,
watching it.
Sydney Sweeney's had a couple bomb performances in a row, and not bomb in like the new good sense, but like that movie Christie is like considered like one of the bigger flops of this era of film.
I cannot stand her, so that just doesn't surprise me. Like,
Fair, fair. Well, on the Sydney Sweeney note, we'll call this week
sure,
close. Yeah, we'll catch up with you guys next week as playoffs are in full swing. We'll have more recaps for you. We'll have a lot of talk about what's going on because Aiden, the first round of playoffs in the NHL is the best first round in all of sports. That is undeniable, and I can't wait to watch as much of it as possible. So we will see all of you guys in the next episode. So without further ado, let's roll that outro. Thanks, guys.